Peace, family. What's good? It's your brother Cool.
What's up? Khaleesi, the wisdom wordsmith. I love that introduction.
Back with another video again. Just want to say thank you everybody for the kind comments and responses to the previous video we put out together in regards to mothers and nationality, immunization. Now, a brother did in one of the comments, he said, well, what about the fathers and their children? Cool. And I was like, of course we're not going to forget the fathers.
Never.
But we just wanted to deal with the epidemic of single mothers that what I'm saying, are with their children, who are making these decisions in terms of what's happening to the child. So
yeah. And by all means, like if we make a video, if we say mother, if you're a father and it applies to you, I mean, just take the knowledge.
So, did you have anything, any questions up in your mind?
Questions. Okay. I would have prepared a little bit more if I had known I was doing.
Sometimes just winging it is the best thing to do.
Just winging it.
So I'll tell you what. How about we start with? How about we talk about single fathers and their children, and they're not being nationalized. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation is, maybe with their mother, she's out there. She's out of the picture. You know what I'm saying? But the father's in custody of the children. He's single. He's taking care of them. He wants to nationalize and get his children on the record. So what about the dads who are dealing from a single parent, single parent aspect?
Sure. So I will say, first of all, it's really important for dads to understand the parentage laws or, parental rights in their jurisdiction. I always say start there because, like in the state of Washington, for instance, when you have a child, I have rights. You have the same rights to our child that I have. Right. You don't have to go and do anything, right? The best thing I could say is for fathers who love their children, sign the paternity affidavit when the child is born, okay? Because some states require that the father declare paternity. So if you don't do it, you may be taking care of this child for the last 7 years, and on public record, nowhere do you even exist. So it's really important. That's in my videos, I always talk to mothers because like you said, we're already in these systems. We're already interfacing. We're already understanding what we're signing. And not to say that dads aren't, but there are a lot of different laws and paternity structures that exist to catch the father up, okay?
Right. Like
in these states, these things exist. So it's really important that fathers understand paternity laws and just understanding the system in general. You know what I'm saying? So that when they go to make these moves, because if you don't have a paternity affidavit, or like if the father's name isn't listed on the birth certificate at birth, that would hinder him from going to Social Security to get
be able to do those things. So
that document.
Essentially, that's your power of attorney.
Because nowhere do you exist on record even being connected to this child.
Yeah, so how can you speak on behalf of the child?
You
know? This is why it's important that you want to be present. You know what I'm saying? Even if you can't physically be present, you want to make sure that you are on the record that this is your child. You gotta make that claim, because you belong to the child as much as the child belongs to you. It's a reciprocal contract. But if you don't make your claim, you know what I'm saying, then you're gonna leave that child abandoned.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even though the child can't speak, hey, I need my mother and my father, by their actions of what they need in order to survive and grow, they need their mother and their father. So they're expressing their need of what they require in their contract. So it's up to us to be like, yes, this is my child. I am taking responsibility. I am going to take care of her or him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then happily. Another thing that's been happening that, we've been brainwashed through the system is that to look at children as a stress burden. Oh my God, another one. You know what I'm saying? Man, how are we going to afford this one? Listen, we're indigenous peoples. We've been here before Columbus got here. How do you think we've been here so long? Okay? Our wealth is in our children. Our wealth is in our seeds that bear fruit. So if you're not planting those seeds, what fruit you expect?
Right.
And it's never been a stressful burden because we've always been in tune with nature. And according to the laws of nature, there's more than enough for everybody. Only in these corporate laws do they make it seem like there's less, or, you know, there's not enough, or, you know, we have to ration out. The Creator gave us more than what we need on this planet. So just the mere fact of that also, you know what I'm saying, puts a thought, because guess what? Your child is your thoughts. So if you're having those thoughts of that, that's what that child is bearing when they're born. You know what I'm saying? It's not stressful to have children. It's not. It should be a very happy experience and moment. It shouldn't have to do anything with finances. That should worry afterwards, because once you make the mental decision that I'm going to take care of this child, finances are going to come. If you are really, you know what I'm saying, dedicated to taking care of your child, the finances is going to come. And that doesn't mean you got to, by any means necessary, you got to stick a nigga up and shit like that. No. That means when you go into yourself and you really know who you are, and you know that you're a creator, then you realize, yo, I got something, I have something to offer to the world that they can find as value, that they would actually find worth investing in me.
Right. And I'm glad that you said, you just be sliding right into my little openings for me to jump in, because when you said, because like you're the maker, you're the owner, right? So like when you know that you're the foundation, I gotta just say it, brothers, like sometimes y'all don't do the right choice. Just like sisters, we don't always make the best choice when we choose and who we lay down with. But like sometimes it be like so obvious, brothers, okay? And since the brother asked why don't I talk to dads, I'm just going to talk to the dads, okay? You know, because you're the foundation of the family. So, you know, when you look at yourself, you know, it just brings us all back to knowledge of self, man. When you know yourself, where are you going? Who are you? What values do you live by? You know what I mean? Hopefully you are in accordance with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So right there, you're looking for a whole different type of woman.
Oh. It's still going though. We still going though.
You're looking for a whole different kind of woman when you live by values, right? So, you know, I know for some of us, we're already, the decisions have been made and repercussions, like where some of us are just single. And that's it. I get it. But still, like going in, you know, to the future, if you were to consider even being with another person raising your children, right? You still want to have the foundation of self and being thoroughly able to understand self and what self needs. You know what I mean? Instead of sometimes brothers, it be like band-aids. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about for the guys that's raising their children. You don't just want to pick a woman just because she knows how to feed children and cook and clean. You know, but what qualities about her complement yours? Check on my young one. Which qualities about you complement with her and your child? You know, like we got to start thinking about how we actually integrate and operate together, not just, oh, I picked her, I'm with her, and the kid is just kind of like flying. They just quiet, you know, everything is mute, but they just there for the ride. Dad is with her. You know, like we gotta break that. We gotta stop all of that. The family has to integrate, you know, because we're a blend. We're what they call a blended family.
Yeah, blender. You know, but like like you said, that falls into knowledge of self. You know, it just so happens that the children are always going to be caught up in some shit, because when you're born, you ain't got no control in the shit you've been born into. So we're going to be caught up in some shit. As infants, don't have a choice. That's something perpetual. You know what I'm saying? That's eternal. But those who are conscious and who are aware and who are cognizant, we have an obligation, due to the fact we know, to set shit straight. So, you know, we can't, like I said, we can't just be talking about these things. We got to actually start putting these things into action. Right. And it's not as difficult as people seem. Just I didn't have to go through 100 steps. She didn't have to go through 100 steps to declare herself, you know what I'm saying, our children. You know what I mean? Like she already knew who she was when I met her.
Right.
Just didn't declare it on the record publicly for the world to know. You know what I'm saying? So once, like, and that's it. And then after that point, it's on you to really embody, are you that? Because you could declare, or like, you know, for me, I use myself as an example. I could declare that I'm cool Mare Su El, and then come in on work on Monday, and everyone still call me Reginald Jules.
Right.
You gotta actually embody that. Oh no, see, I had a name change. I from this point forward, I like to be known. Call me as this. Call me cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm Halisi on everything I do.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I write children's books, public speaking.
Yeah, spoken word.
Community work, yeah, spoken, everything.
Artists.
Rename.
We're artists, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the artists are the
real
liberators of and the true light bearers of freedom. If y'all ain't get the memo, it's all in artists, because we have that open mind to see things. You know what I'm saying? That other people aren't exactly looking at. We don't like to just hang around the surface. As artists, we like to see how far the rabbit hole goes. So you know what I'm saying? Which is scary. So going deeper down, you got to break some fear thresholds. You know what I mean?
No fear.
Some people might come out insane and shit like that. Never the same. But for those who are strong and they have a good fortitude and they have going in it with a good heart and they do come out, you know what I'm saying, on their game, they're gonna win. Just like we're winning, because it's a mindset. Like I said, we're not walking into spaces allowing people to degrade our nationality or try to denationalize us. You know what I'm saying? It's our duty to make that correction on the spot. I'll give you a prime example. Yesterday I went into a store. I told you this when I came back into the car. Walked into the store, and I was handed a brother a piece that I made for him, an amethyst piece. And it was a European woman. She walked up to me. The brother was showing her the pieces that I made, and I'll show her some of my pieces and stuff like that. So she walked up to me, and she was acknowledging the piece, and she was like, these are really nice. And then she presumed to say, nice Shriner's hat. Now, if I don't know any better, right, or if I don't know my own history or know anything about who I am and my culture, I'll sit there and be like, or stuck and just, pretty much letting what she says stand as truth. And I said, actually, no, the Shriners didn't start wearing the fez until the 1800s. We've always been wearing this fez. You know what happened after that? Quiet. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't let her go with the mindset that, oh, you're wearing a Shriner's hat. No. The Shriners didn't start rocking this fez until the 1800s. When did Columbus come? 1492. We were still rocking it then too. Then, if you go 2600 BCE, before Christ, before Jesus Christ that everybody loves so much, 2600 years, 2600 years before the man, the Savior, the prophet known as Jesus Christ was born, those melanated people here with locks, with feathers on their head too. Okay? So it's about knowing yourself and correcting things as you go along. You can't let people sit with miscorrected concepts. It's your obligation to correct that. The same way it's your obligation to take care of your family, take care of your children. It's your obligation. You got to confess your own. You got to confess, I am.
And I guess I want to just say too, I guess while we recording, people in the comments, like, if there are topics or things that you would like more clarity on, like, drop those in the comments. I mean, that would help us too, in these videos, because I can be more focused, but sometimes it's easy to be general because you can just give a general understanding to people. But if there are specific things that you want to know, like, drop that in the comments. And I don't know, you never know. Like, if I know the answer, we can give some knowledge to that. So it'd be helpful if people were, feeling like they could give us a little direction.
Well, yeah, we're not mind readers, so only you guys know what questions you got.
Yeah, and you guys are in different states. You got to remember, different jurisdictions. There might be similarities in the laws, but everything's not always the same. So
every state got its own personality.
You know, sometimes when you guys have questions for us, just know that we gonna go do what you could do too, which is just to research. We're gonna research the answer and then get back to y'all. So
actually, to go into that point, I want you to talk about Washington. Due to the fact that all states are different, it's important to know about the state so you can know and prepare yourself for what you have to do. Some states are a little bit more lax, other states are a little bit more uptight, especially when we're talking about the original 13 colonies. Okay, those were the original slave states. New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Connecticut, Maryland, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Virginia. I feel like I'm missing something. Maine, Georgia. Was Georgia part of 13?
It's the slave state.
No, I'm talking about the original, the first 13 colonies. I think
yeah, well, what I'm saying is,
but you know,
it's one of those because there's 15 slave states. So even out of the 13 colonies, there's 15 slave states. And so, like we reside in the Western territories. And so when you look at the map of old, I told my girlfriend the other day, just because laws aren't being enforced, that doesn't mean they stop existing. So right now, there's just no one enforcing catching slaves, right? And I know that everyone's seen that recent article that came out that talked about how the police are not they're not there protecting public interests or protecting public, which I guess a lot of people thought. So they're not, right? Just like the original police that exist, they were never about safety. They were there as enforcers and, you know, to go retrieve things. And so, like I said, we live in the Western Territories in Washington. And Washington was never a colonized jurisdiction, right? So it's really important to know what jurisdictions you are in general when understanding how the United States formed, okay? And then what laws govern the stuff that impacts you. You got to know what laws exist. What do they say about the child? What do they say about the family? What do they say? You know, so that's kind of how I started, but Washington State was never colonized territory. So it's important to know that even when people, when they had slaves back in the day, right? They made the Fugitive Slave Act, which gave them the right to go into free territories. So like Ohio is not a slave state, but they have the Fugitive Slave Act so that they could go into free jurisdictions and just retrieve their properties and go, right? So they created these different laws, and like I said, just because no one is enforcing those laws, it doesn't mean that they failed to exist or remain.
1724 Christian black codes.
Yeah, they still exist. It's just that they have no one enforcing them right now. So, like I said, I just choose to stay in the Western territories because the indigenous people in these regions have a lot to say. They just haven't stepped forward to
say
or, you know, to have a say in matters that impact them, their families, and children. So
we're getting there, though. We're organizing. You know what I'm saying? We're taking our places in the affairs of men, so that way we can do what we need to do to rebuild our communities. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, but there's tons of abandoned properties and empty, unused lands on our territories and our dominions that are being used, but yet there are homeless people everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be on point. And like I said, you know, and like she said, those resources are available to us, but we got to show that we're competent.
Come here.
We got to show that we're competent. It's inside on the table. I don't know. It's inside on the table, Kenny. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's up to us to live out, proclaim who we are, protect our family, utilize our trust and do business.
Come back over here, sweetie pie.
You know what I'm saying? And being able to conduct ourselves properly. don't really have much more to add to that. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, me too. So like I said, fill up those comments with your questions, suggestions, or whatever.
All right, family. Thank y'all for joining. Peace is your brother Cool.
Peace.
Islam.